Good morning and welcome to you, Mr. Griffith. How are you? How was your Christmas?
Hi, good morning, Tobago. It was pleasurable. I enjoyed it so far.
Great, and I mean, we see in a sense that you got an early Christmas present, and that was you had a win at the courts for this for an injunction to stop this report from being revealed in Parliament.
Yeah, I mean, the unfortunate thing is it's not a win for Trinidad and Tobago. The taxpayers' money they have to put it out now because of the failure or by the government. The one thing this government is very good at is bullying persons. They use their resources so much. If they try to put their efforts and resources as much in trying to provide the citizens of this great country with the needs that they require, this would be a much better country. But they put so much emphasis on trying to target anyone who may be deemed as on the other political side. That is what happened here. There was an agenda. It was a deliberate plot to see if you could discredit me. And I didn't ask for the job. You changed the law last year in March for me to return. And then because of your decision, fine, I would have left. But when you try to lie, this government has pushed for 2 years an agenda about massive corruption with white collar crime in the issue of firearms. After 2 years, not one person has been arrested as it pertains to corruption with firearms. It was all a lie, and the country has seen it. So what they did, they tried to hire someone closely aligned to them, call it a Barrington report, he was a civilian, and it was not a report from a bona fide body because he was the only person who signed it. So that went out the window. They then tried with the Stanley John report and you can't be more incompetent. And I can't believe this man was a judge to put massive, well-oiled criminal industry. And after a year, not one person has even been held. So it was all a lie. Well done, Stanley John. You have now exposed your ignorance. And then you come now, you hire 3 other persons, and these individuals decide to do an audit. A child will know that if you're doing an audit in an organization, you must speak to the person who was in charge of the organization. For them not to have done that, it shows either incompetence at the highest level or there was a deliberate agenda and they knew exactly what they wanted to put. So the injunction was filed because we knew, and I wanted the country to know exactly what Keith Rowley's people put on that report, but I wanted them to say it outside. They refuse. They don't want to say it outside because people say, well, why, Gary, what, you have something to hide? No, I want them to say it outside so that I could sue Keith Rowley for every cent he has and the people who did the audit. But they know the one place you can lie, you could discredit persons and not pay the price is in Parliament. So what he wanted to do was an email gate reloaded, and that's why we blocked it. They lodged an appeal, and it was thrown out as well. So the audacity, again, we have, again, an incompetent Attorney General who has the audacity to tell the country, well, no, we won. How could you win and you have to pay costs? What you did, you went for an appeal stating that the decision by the judge was wrong, and you won the appeal, the injunction removed. The injunction was not removed, but this Attorney General, I don't know where he studied law, has the audacity to say that they got what they wanted. You didn't get what you wanted because if you did, you would have to pay costs.
Well, I mean, one of the things that was mentioned in the order was that there are several people that are also implicated in this. What can you tell us about those other people that may be facing or that were saved in a sense from being from public discrimination, all those kind of things in this report?
Well, it shows our constitution, how flawed it is. We have to change our constitution. You cannot be using a parliament to go in there and lie about people, discredit people, destroy their character because they are politically opposed to you. That is dictatorship. That is what this country has reached to now, where we are using parliament to destroy the character and credibility of persons because I'm not politically aligned to you. That is where we have reached. And it is unfortunate that even the media, they are fearful of this government because they do not look at what has taken place. They are afraid to state it. Look at this. I found the minutes of the Police Service Commission, and it showed that they never withdrew the merit list. So that last merit list is still very much alive. They never suspended me as Commissioner of Police. So it meant that whoever used the letterhead broke the law. And Mr. Jacob, who benefited from all of this bacchanal, so which means he too should be investigated, has refused to investigate this matter. It is obvious that somebody broke the law and he or she should be arrested along with if someone tried to influence them to do it. And you have an acting commissioner of police who is allowed to continue not to do his job because he benefits from it. This is madness. This is what we have in the dictatorship in this country. And the media and everyone has stayed very silent. We have a president in any other country in the world, she would have been removed from office. She didn't just not send back the merit list, but the acting appointments that she was supposed to take to parliament, she refused to do so. She refused to adhere to the law on 2 occasions, and she's still there as the president. It is only in this country that we are seeing what is known as democratic dictatorship, which is why I got back into politics, to put an end to this.
And additionally, you mentioned that there because your suspension and so on, all those things were not in a sense legal. Are you attempting? Are you going to take these matters to court? Are you going to launch any legal action, just for the way that your dismissal from office was handled?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to win because we have the minutes to the Police Service Commission. Again, it shows that word incompetent. We seem to have persons in office that you mean that becomes your qualification. Jacob has to be incompetent because you're showing the minutes. I had to get it for and show the minutes of the Police Service Commission show that they never withdrew the merit list. So that merit list is still active. The minutes of the Police Service Commission show that I was never suspended. So even though they pulled back the suspension when my attorneys went to them, the damage was already done. So Bliss C. Prasad is going to be sued for every cent she has. And the same thing I'm doing with every single aspect. We have the government trying to utilize financial institutions to look into the finances of political opponents with no probable cause. They're intercepting the phone. I have the acting commissioner of police, Jacob, intercepting all of my phones, and he has no just cause, no probable cause. So I'm suing them for every single thing. So I'll be in the court a lot because I realize you cannot get justice in this police service because there's an acting commissioner of police who seems to either be incompetent or he is enjoying the benefits by all of this that is going on. So it has to be done through one way, which cannot be compromised, which is the courts. So I would be in the court dealing with all of these matters early in the new year.
Yeah, we're certainly looking forward for that. But another thing is, while all of these are going on, we still have that issue within our space as to, people being able to access, firearms legally in a situation where you have crime on the rise, and there is that need for certain people to be able to defend themselves. How should the public be feeling at this point in time with this whole situation?
Well, it shows to the government how selfish they are because between the Prime Minister, the present Minister of National Insecurity, Fitzgerald Hines, and the Acting Commissioner of Police, between the 3 of them alone, there were over 58 firearms they asked for me to approve. So it shows the hypocrisy and the double standard by these 3 individuals. They seem to have a concern that the poor man must not get a firearm. The small businessman who wants to protect his small business, he must not get a firearm. The head of a household who wants to protect his wife from being raped, his daughter from being killed, his son from being kidnapped, he should not get a firearm. The small farmer who's trying to protect his crops from predator larceny, he should not get a firearm. The hunters, they should not get a firearm. Our qualified athletes who are taking part in Olympics that need different weapons, they should not get firearms. But only they, the elite, must get firearms. And it's the same Rowley and Hines who have armored vehicles, security guards with assault weapons. So they have the protection, but they're still harassing the commissioner to give their close friends and associates firearms. It shows the hypocrisy and the double standard of this government. And what makes it worse is that they have spent more time. They have assigned 70 police officers to deal specifically with legal firearms when 99.9% of all the murders committed by firearms in the last 4 years have been by illegal firearms. But not one police officer has been assigned specifically to deal with the problem of illegal firearms. I issued 4,000 firearms in my 3 years. Not one was used to commit a crime. Not one was used to commit a murder. Not one was lost. Not one was stolen. Over half of those were for police officers, soldiers, sailors, prison officers, custom officers, who past and present, who needed to protect themselves because we have an outdated system that when you leave the station, you have to keep your firearm there, and it puts their life at risk. And so that means it's 0.15% odd of the country got firearms. And that becomes a big concern for this government. It shows that this wasn't about firearms. They were hoping to use this as an avenue in the expectancy that they could tarnish my name. But the whole country, even the most diehard PNM, they have realized how foolish it is. They have played their hand, they've lost, and now in court, they're paying the price for it.
Now we have a situation as well where, Minister of National Security, Fitzgerald Hines, have been stating, he said quite a lot last week about the crime situation. It says that 70% of the population wants him to fail and, all these things. Is it that us, the population, do we want them to fail? Was he accurate in those statements?
No, definitely not. It was, again, stupidity at the highest level. When I was commissioner of police, 89% of the population wanted me to remain as commissioner of police or had no concerns. When I was minister of national security in his position, it was about a 70% positive rating I had. So it is absolutely ridiculous to perceive that people want you to fail. Even, in fact, even the criminal elements wanted me, and they were pleased that I was commissioner of police because I ensured that that their rights would not be abused. I was able to protect them from being involved in gang activity with other gangs. That is why in my last year, from August 2020 to August 2021, there were 342 murders. And the year after I left under Jacobs, that year it followed was 596. So it showed that even the criminal elements would want a commissioner of police or a minister of national security who can protect them, who can look after them, who will not abuse the process. So if Mr. Hines is stating that, it means that he is not doing his job. If it is at 70%, don't support you is because you have failed. But I beg to differ. I do not think in any way that what he said, because remember, he flip-flops. After he probably got buffed by the prime minister, he came 2 days later and said, no, the whole country supports him. The man doesn't know if he's coming or going. He's lost.
And then, we're heading into a situation where we are ending of the year with over 600 murders. I mean, what does that say for the way that we've been able to manage our national security here in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, what it showed is that we have politicized national security because, as I said, just August 2020 to August 2021, crime became the number 4 concern in the country behind health, education, and the economy. Public trust and confidence in the police service moved from 14% 4 years ago to 55%. It was the highest reduction in every violent crime in 25 years. And it had nothing to do with COVID because after I left in August last year, September, October, November, we had 60 odd murders and there was still COVID, still public health regulations, still the state of emergency. So the criminologists and the PNM supporters who would like to use that, excuse me, they can't come with that because it is totally incorrect. It shows that if you put the proper policies, you put the proper tools, you do not politicize national security, we can get back to what it was just a year ago. But this government and the acting commissioner of police, they do not know how to use technology. They do not know how to build morale, lift motivation, get the officers to be the best that they can be, get the public to buy in, to know that the law enforcement officers are doing their work, because it's the same police officers that were there a year ago. So it's not, you can't blame the police officers. It has to do with a change in direction in leadership and management. If that changes, the country can be back on the same track. Because my anticipation is every year I was going to reduce violent crime by 10%, which would have meant that in about 3 years, we'd have been back to less than 200 murders per annum, which could be seen as acceptable level based on this country. But they're not doing a thing to deal with illegal firearms. And that has been the biggest problem. They've spent all their time, resources, and funds dealing with legal firearms, which has been involved with, and the involvement of that is like 0.1% of murders in the last 4 years, and not the main problem where we have 400 plus murders every year by illegal firearms. That alone should be grounds for a government to be removed. You can't be more incompetent, be more biased, be more vindictive than to use your resources for all the wrong reasons instead of using it for the right reasons to protect citizens. So my point is, if the government is changed, or if the government wakes up and becomes a little more mature, this can turn around to what it was just until August last year.
All right. Well, Mr. Griffith, I want to thank you for being on with us this morning, and I hope you get some rest and some help for your voice. I know you're a little bit strained this morning, but yes, hope some honey and lime.
I would. And just by the way, and what I intend to do as well, just before I leave, Tobago, it means a lot to me. And one of the things I did as security minister and commissioner was put a lot of emphasis in securing Tobago. A secure Tobago means a safer Trinidad, so you don't have to utilize resources there. I intend to liaise with the THA and provide my advice, my expertise. I can get Tobago to be locked down. There are certain things that can easily be done. It was done when I was minister in 2013 and 2015. It was done when I was commissioner. A lot of these things have been pulled back, and it is affecting the security in Tobago. So I intend to liaise with THA and provide the advice and guidance to assist and ensure that Tobago can be as safe as ever in 2023.
Certainly looking forward for that because, of course, a safer Tobago is what everybody here wants. So thank you so much,
Definitely.
Mr. Griffith, for being on with us.